It's time for America Outdoors Radio, the show that covers the outdoor scene across the U.S. of A. and the entire continent. Fishing, hunting, conservation, outdoor recreation, and great destinations. We cover it all every week. It's your country, your outdoors. Let's explore it together with your host, John Cruz.
Is anyone else out there worried about this presidential election? I'm torn. I truly am. I consider myself a conservative, but the Republican Party has adopted a platform at their convention this year to turn management of many of our Forest Service and BLM lands where we recreate over to the states, who have no budget to manage them and will more than likely sell them off to the highest bidder. If you're an angler, a hunter, a hiker, or camper who tromps through the vast places where every man has his share of the kingdom, this should scare you. Because if this scenario plays out, you will lose a lot of access to these public lands. What else ought to scare you is, Mr. Donald Trump. I have no idea if he listens to anyone but himself in the mirror. He doesn't suffer disagreement. He holds grudges, and he shoots, or should I say tweets, off the hip instead of, maybe waiting for a few hours or even minutes to figure out what's going on before weighing in on this, that, or the other thing. On the other side of the coin, though, is Hillary Clinton and the Democrats. Every time a terrorist act happens, she and her fellow Democrats immediately call for gun control, as if gun control would have prevented what happened in Orlando or Nice, France, where the terrorist used a truck. I'm a strong believer in my right to keep and bear arms and believe you have that right as well. But believe me, if Hillary is elected and more left-leaning Supreme Court justices are elected, those rights will erode in a hurry. And some of those firearms that you own or may want to own may become unavailable to you. I don't know about you, but the last 8 years doesn't feel like really good ones for our country. We are angrier and more divided than ever, and our Congress has gridlocked to the point where nothing, and I mean nothing, of import seems to get done. But what to do? I'm afraid I don't have an answer for that yet. So, let's talk about what's coming up on our show instead. A show that focuses on outdoor recreation like fishing, hunting, and the shooting sports. We'll be tackling the first subject when we check in with well-known outdoors writer Dave Zobe. He was fishing in the Yukon Territory recently, a place that is utterly foreign to the vast majority of us. That's why it's nice to have guides and writers like Dave fill us in on what it's all about. Personally, I love fishing north of the lower 48. I suspect many of you do. In fact, have you ever considered buying land in Canada? You can in certain places, and it might be a heck of a lot cheaper than buying recreational land in the area you live in. We'll be talking to Rudy Nielsen from Niho Lands in British Columbia, who's going to tell you more about this. If you are a hunter or a wildlife watcher, you probably own a set of binoculars, but do you have the right equipment and knowledge to take care of them in the field? Rick Young, a man who makes a living selling binocular harnesses and accessories, does, and he'll spend a little time with us giving you some advice on how to keep your optics working the right way they ought to when you need them most. What else do we have for you? There's some new boats coming on the consumer market that look like a Zodiac raft on steroids with lots of aluminum thrown in. If you're looking for a stable, virtually unsinkable saltwater fishing or adventure boat, you'll want to hear what Micah Bowers has to say about his life-proof boats that are built in Bremerton, Washington. What else do we have for you? How about a step-by-step tutorial about making jerky at home, whether it be from duck, goose, or beef? We've also got some offbeat news about unexpected predators found in California and weird colored fish caught off the coast of Alaska, and of course, our Trail of Shame segment. In other words, it's going to be a full hour of the outdoors, but before we go any further, let's head north towards the Yukon. Next on America Outdoors Radio, we're talking to Dave Zobe about fishing the Yukon Territory. Dave, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks a lot.
So, Dave, you drove up the Alcan Highway, and you got to Whitehorse, which is the capital of the Yukon Territory, and that's really not that big of a town, is it?
No, it's about 30,000 people, but it is the capital, and it's a good place to stop for a couple of days, because you've driven for quite a few days, and it's a good place to maybe rest and do some fishing. So
go ahead and give our listeners a brief overview of the fishing you did there in the Yukon Territory.
Well, because it's so big and these rivers are so unknown to me, I contacted the guide up there, Steve Hahn. As far as I know, he's the only fly shop and the only person doing fly fishing adventures. There's a lot of people doing walleye and big lake trout type of guiding, but for the river fishing that he does, he was the only one. And we set up a kind of a loose schedule, and he asked us what we wanted to do. I had a friend with me, And the first day we fished the Bikini River, which is maybe about 45 minutes from Whitehorse. We were the only boat on the river, drift boat that also has a jet motor on it, so he can go across lakes and things like that. Then he can just sit the seat and row. But the grayling were everywhere. You could see them in the water. We stopped and casted for them. We casted from the boat. We tried all these different spots, and everywhere we went, we caught fish.
Oh, I love grayling. They are just such beautiful and sporty fish. What was the average size? What was the biggest one you caught up there?
Yeah, they were like 16 to 18 inches, which is large, and they have those big sails on them, you know.
Those are good fish.
And, yeah, they're real good. And one of the things that Steve does is he has these switch rods, which are these kind of halfway between a spey and halfway between a regular fly rod like I use here in Wyoming. And these were 11.5-foot 3-weights and 4-weights. So they're really light rods. And when you get a 12, 15-inch grayling on it, you really know you have a fish. I mean, you feel them on there. There's also some lake trout around that'll hit flies sometimes in that system, and some trout in the Kathleen River, some steelhead, where we went the second day. So it was a lot of fishing. It wasn't like we were looking around for places to fish. It seemed like everywhere we went, the water's crystal clear, beautiful. You can see down into the runs, and there were fish everywhere we went.
Oh, this sounds absolutely fantastic. So these switch rods, it's always interesting to me when you go to a place that's out of the States where you start finding the local twist on how to fish. So they've got these switch rods. Anything else that they did up there different than what you're normally used to in Wyoming, where you're from?
Right. They used a fly called a Dime Bright minnow as a little streamer. I'd never seen one of those before. It had big red eyes, and basically it was bright white with a little bit of red in the body somewhere. It was a minnow. And on these switch rods on the end, you put a sinking leader. So you're getting down to depths I'm not used to. Usually we use an indicator, we use a couple split shot. But these are bigger rivers than what I'm used to. We fish the North Platte here in Casper, and in the middle of the winter you can walk across it.
Sure.
But these are not those kinds of rivers. These are big, blue Canadian rivers. You're out there in the middle of nowhere. I kept looking around for moose, and maybe I was hoping to see a wolf or something like that, but you really know you're in the wilderness when you're out there. But these Dime Bright minnows, the fish just couldn't resist them, and I really think I want to try those flies down here because they make them in a lot of different colors. The switch rod, the one he was using was a Mystic, which comes from, they're made in Michigan, actually. And the reason why he likes to use those is because there's so many overhanging trees and things like that. You don't have to backcast like you do here in Wyoming. In Wyoming, you can backcast and let your line unfurl. With this, you just kind of whip it off the surface of the water, and you're getting these great, big, beautiful, long cast. Again, I'm totally a novice. I know a lot of people out your way do a lot of spey fishing, but I had not. So for me, with him instructing me a little bit, I was kind of surprised I could actually catch fish with this new system.
Oh, it sounds fascinating to me. Now, when it comes to the Yukon Territory, getting there is, half the fun or maybe not. How long did it take you from the time you crossed the border into Canada to get up to Whitehorse? It had to be several days.
It was. I've done the Alcan a couple of times, and usually I talk somebody into riding up with me, and then I'll drop them off at Anchorage and let them fly home, and then I'll stay in Alaska for a little bit. But I use the Milepost, which is a real thick, like phone book size publication. It comes out every year. And it shows you the maps, it shows you what towns to stop in, where they have coffee, where you can do laundry, where you can have showers, and where all the campgrounds are. The great thing about Canada is they have all these government campgrounds that are, $12, $15 piece. They give you firewood, and you're on these beautiful lakes. It is a long drive, and you're spending a fair amount of money and fuel and all that, but what you're seeing, what you're getting for that is a bargain. Just as soon as you get to Banff, it just becomes beautiful in all directions. I love doing it. I don't dread it. There's some long days, and you can't go 70 and 80 miles an hour on these roads. You got to go a lot slower. A lot of times there's some construction, and there's a lot of wildlife, so you have to be careful. But, you have to stop yourself from stopping and taking photographs all the time, because otherwise you'd never get there.
Dave, we are unfortunately out of time, but folks, another way to get there is by air. You can fly into Whitehorse from several destinations, and you've got to check out Dave's writing. He's actually published in Gray Sporting Journal, one of the best, if not the best, publications out there when it comes to outdoors literature. Go to his website at davezoby.com. That's Z-O-B-Y is how you spell Zoby, davezoby.com. And if you want to check out the website for the guide he went fishing with, it's Headwaters to Ocean Trout. Really simple website, H2OTroutOutfitter.com. Dave, thanks for teasing us with this preview of fishing the Yukon Territory.
Hey, thanks so much, Sean.
Limit Out Performance Marine is your West Coast Phoenix, Larson, and Alumacraft boat dealer. We also offer full service for your Mercury and Yamaha outboard and have complete parts and tackle store for your every boating need. We'll not only provide you with full service for your boat, motor, and trailer, but we'll also educate you on how to better operate and maintain your boat so you can have a better experience in the water. Visit us at 421 5th Avenue Northwest in Pacific or go online to limitoutmarine.com.
It's a trek to get here, but that's what you love about it. The Hawkeye Land and Sea Fishing Club is located on the remote central coast of British Columbia, within the Hawkeye Conservancy Marine Park. If you're expecting a fancy towel service kind of fishing resort, well, you're out of luck. But if you're looking for seriously world-class fishing and spectacular scenery, you're in for an experience unlike any other. For more information about joining the club or visiting as a guest, go to HawkeyeLandandSea.com.
Life-Proof Boats is the Northwest factory direct boat manufacturer that builds the highest grade aluminum boats. Our flotation stabilized watercraft are virtually unsinkable and incredibly stable. Our boats are so rugged they're used not only by fishermen but also by the government. Choose from an existing model or let us build you a completely new design. All aluminum boats are not created equal. Find out why we're a step above and about our loyalty program by going to lifeproofboats.com. Lifeproofboats.com for the innovative boat of a lifetime.
Tom and Jerry's Boat Center in Mount Vernon is Washington's largest Hughes Craft and Kingfisher aluminum boat dealer. As a leader in sales, service, and fun on the water, Tom and Jerry's only purpose is to make sure you end up with the right boat for your family's needs at a price that will make you smile. Whether it's a new Hughes Craft or Kingfisher or a new Yamaha or Honda outboard, Tom and Jerry's can take care of all your needs. Check us out at tomandjerrys.net, and we'll see you on the water.
Back with America Outdoors Radio. I'm John Cruz. This portion of the show is brought to you by Northwest Sportsman Magazine, the monthly publication that covers the hunting, fishing, and boating scene throughout the greater Northwest. Look for a copy at a newsstand near you. Now, if you're like me, you've probably noticed out on our big rivers, big lakes, and in places like Puget Sound or even the open ocean, a lot of government agencies, sheriff's offices, the Coast Guard, police departments with marine patrols, they're using these boats that look like Zodiac inflatables on steroids. Lots of aluminum, lots of what appears to be PVC, and now there's a company that's making similar boats for the recreational market. That's right, for anglers and more. The company's called Life-Proof Boats. They make everything from 18-foot runabouts to 40-foot long vessels. With us here to tell us more is Micah Bowers. Micah, welcome to the show.
Hey, John, how are you?
I'm doing good, but you've got to go ahead and educate me real quick. You know, these boats, like I said, from outward appearances, they look like these huge Zodiacs with all sorts of aluminum built on top of them. What are they actually made of?
Well, so we can do an inflatable collar that is similar to your Zodiac that you mentioned, that you've seen on the water before, that everyone's familiar with for the last 20 years. However, a lot of our customers, they've asked for something a little bit more rugged, a little bit more heavy-duty, something they don't have to worry about when they take it out fishing, and they've got big hook and sharp spears. And so what we do is we put foam in that collar. So now you don't have to worry about if you puncture it. It's a passive system, and it's what we call virtually unsinkable.
Nice. And so here's the next question. This sounds actually very impressive just out of the get-go, but why is this better than a standard aluminum or a standard fiberglass boat?
Well, there's a couple aspects that work into all of our vessel designs. For one, because we have the flotation collar systems that provide all this buoyant flotation, we can raise our deck level and give you a really fast self-bailing deck. So now you take a wave in the boat, you take water in the boat, and you don't have to worry about that water compromising your stability. It'll all self-bail out of the deck, and then all of our decks are welded 100% with aluminum to help make that boat stronger and then to help make it a self-bailing aspect.
Very nice. So these collars you're talking about here, are they subject to weathering?
Foam that we use is a polyethylene product, and it's actually a molded plank when it comes into our door. And what we do is we take that molded plank, we have a computer designer here who grafts that shape into the computer, and we actually cut it out on a computer-controlled hot wire machine to give it that shape on that side of the boat. And the reason why we use a polyethylene foam is for the fact that it doesn't break down with gasolines or other nitromethanes like your standard two-part mixed foams.
Fascinating.
Absolutely fascinating. So getting back to my original question, though, when it comes to weathering, when it comes to the sun and the elements, how does it stand up compared to aluminum and fiberglass boats?
Well, I heard you mention earlier that PVC. Well, PVC is one aspect of it. You can use a PVC coating over that foam, which is the colored material you typically see in all our pictures. The PVC material, some of them have a UV stabilizing product to it to help make them last the 15 to 20 years that they need. However, we tend to use a lot of polyurethanes because they're a stronger material, better abrasion resistance, and they actually have a better UV coating on the outside of them. So we tend to use that, and we have boats that have been in Maui for a long time, down in the Bahamas, all around the world, in fact, use this same material on their vessels, same material the Coast Guard uses for the fact that it is durable and it lasts a long time if taken care of.
All right. Well, so far you are selling me on this concept. I like it. This is innovative enough, but something else that's really innovative that your company does is you have a vented tunnel hole design with an engine that, let me get this straight, it operates as both a prop motor and a jet drive. I've never heard of anything like this before.
So the whole point of this company when we started 2 years ago was really just to come out with new ideas in the industry to take the industry to the next level. And we were going to come out with a bunch of different patents. And we were going to sit back and have fun, be happy. But we started to build these boats to test these platforms on, these technologies, and people kept coming to our door, all the vendors. Hey, you guys need to keep pursuing this. Build recreational vessels. Take it to the market. So that's what led us to do what we're doing now with LifeProof boats. But one of the technologies we started out with was our vented tunnel hole design. And the whole way it works is in the bottom of the boat, we have a tunnel. It's 6 inches tall. It's about 3 feet wide and about 3 feet long. And the whole point of it is to use a vessel that can have a propeller as the prop or to have a jet foot on that outboard. When you incorporate it with our hydraulic jack plates that we make in-house here, that allows you then to raise that outboard 7 to 8 inches on the transom. And so if there's a fisherman who wants to go 20 miles offshore in his boat, he wants to run a propeller, he wants the power, the speed, the efficiency, he can do that. And then the next weekend when he wants to go up into the rivers and the lakes and he wants to run in a shallow water condition, he can take that lower unit off and put a jet foot on it. And what we do is we supply that jet foot with the boat as the package. And so now his 18-degree dead rise boat, which is a good dead rise for a boat to take offshore, he can take that boat offshore and inland and have a shallow draft.
Amazing. Absolutely amazing. So let's talk about the boats you make. Again, I know it's everything from 18-foot open runabouts to 30-foot boats that would be great operating offshore for fishermen with hard cabins and all sorts of other stuff, too. You got all sorts of models you offer, but the amazing thing to me is that, you're right there in Bremerton, Washington, right here on the West Coast, and you'll actually make a boat specific to a customer's needs. It doesn't have to be a cookie-cutter boat that's out of your catalog.
That's exactly right. We work with a fantastic product, aluminum. It's easy for us to do things for the client specific to him. And since we're factory direct, you're going to work with us, the manufacturer, one-on-one through the whole build. If a client needs something specific, whether it's a cooler added, a fish box, they want a different cabin even, they come to us and they say, hey, I think this would be something really unique for me, really fun. This would be more functional for what I do in my marine, operations. We'll do that for him. It's easy for us to do, and if they want it, we know someone else will want it, so we're happy to do it for him.
So, Micah, here's another question for you. Are all of your boats factory direct out of Bremerton, or do you have dealers up and down the West Coast that sell your boats as well?
We stay factory direct. It's the relationship that we want to have with our clients. We want to make sure that we're providing the best boat that we can for them, and the only way to do that is to control every aspect of the build, the wiring, the engines install, everything, because no one's going to do it better than us, and so that's what we would like to do.
So LifeProof Boats, again, based in Bremerton, Washington, how long have you been in business, and just give or take, how many boats are out there on the waters right now?
So we launched the brand last August, so we're coming up on a one-year anniversary here with the brand. The company is actually Inventec Marine Solutions, and that's the company that encompasses both the boat-making brand of the side of the company and also the collar-making side. With the collars, we brand as Fast Collars, and that FAST stands for Foam Air Stabilized Technologies. And the reason why we have two brands, LifeProof Boats and Fast, is for the fact that if there was someone with a Zodiac or a Novarania or another inflatable boat, and they just needed new tubes for their boat. It's been 20 years. The tubes, their life expectancy is up, and they need new tubes. We can do that for them under the brand of Fast, and then they don't have to have LifeProof boats on their Zodiac. So We've been around, though, for 2.5 years, and really we spent the first 2 years just patenting new ideas. And so now that we've taken off with Life-Proof Boats last August, we have about 15 boats that we've built so far to date.
Well, I have a feeling, based on what you've told me, there's going to be a whole lot more of these boats on the water. Sounds like both a revolutionary system and something that people are really going to embrace. What's a website where people can find out more?
Well, you can find us online at lifeproofboats.com, and all the models are listed there. And then, again, if there's something you don't see on there and you're interested in, it's something you think better suited for what your needs are, just give us a call. We're really easy to work with, and we'd love to hear about your project.
All right. The website, again, folks, is lifeproofboats.com, lifeproofboats.com. Check them out. This is something really special, and I think you're going to see a lot of these boats on the water, and maybe you ought to get one, too. Micah, thanks for telling us all about this on America Outdoors Radio.
Oh, you're welcome. Thanks for having me, John.
Life-Proof Boats is the Northwest factory direct boat manufacturer that builds the highest grade aluminum boats. Our flotation stabilized watercraft are virtually unsinkable and incredibly stable. Our boats are so rugged they're used not only by fishermen but also by the government. Choose from an existing model or let us build you a completely new design. All aluminum boats are not created equal. Find out why we're a step above and about our loyalty program by going to lifeproofboats.com. Lifeproofboats.com for the innovative boat of a lifetime.
Deep in the heart of Hell's Canyon is where you'll find 4 acres on the Snake River you could call your very own. This unique offering features a 1,480 square foot 3-bedroom home with all the amenities you would expect to find, including an indoor shower and toilet, built-in AC and heating, satellite TV, Wi-Fi, a solar system, and generator too. Want to find out more? Call 503-630-6345. 503-630-6345. Again, that's 503-630-6345 for your wilderness getaway.
You're back with America Outdoors Radio. I'm John Cruz. This portion of the show is brought to you every week by the American Shooting Journal. It's a publication you need that comes out every month covering the shooting sports, firearms, hunting, and more. Look for it at a newsstand near you. Let's go ahead and talk about a very important accessory for both hunters and for bird watchers, too. It's that pair of binoculars you carry around, but you have to care for them while they're out in the field. With us here to tell us more about this is Rick Young with Rick Young Outdoors. He makes binocular harnesses and accessories. Rick, welcome to the show.
Hey, John, thanks a bunch. I appreciate the opportunity to get on board with you.
So, Rick, I'm bebopping out in the field. I got my binoculars hanging from the strap that they came with. And what are some things you would recommend before I take another step that I ought to do to protect my binoculars?
Well, you know, your binoculars are an extension of your eyes, and you want them in front of you at all times. So the neck strap was a generally great idea, but advancing to a harness to keep them from swinging is the next step. And most harnesses today are fairly uncomfortable, and people complain, but yet they need it. It's the lesser of two evils. So I highly recommend that.
So, Rick, your ultra lightweight harnesses, why are they better than what's out there with the competition?
Well, we've all used the wide 1-inch strap harnesses for years, and they've got a nice big leather patch on the back, and they support the binoculars to a point until they start stretching out and the binoculars reach your belt line. The system that we've got here doesn't stretch out, and it has a single point of adjustment as opposed to 4 adjustments on your standard harness. What that means is when you change your clothing, you can quickly readjust the tension on your harness and bring the binoculars back up to your chest where they stay. And the thin straps that we built this out of don't vibrate in the wind like a 1-inch wide strap. That vibration, it transmits into the glass and blurs your image, and it's irritating as all heck. And the other key important thing is you can wear our 1 ounce harness 5 different ways on your body, and still you can disconnect the binoculars from the harness with hardware that's designed to work even when it's frozen without breaking.
Very interesting.
Protecting that binocular that you're talking about, say with a cover in the field, that's important to keep the dirt and the snow out of the thing, but it's not totally essential in good weather. So it needs to be kind of a convertible system. And we do manufacture two systems. One's a complete neoprene cover, and then another one is made out of ripstop nylon. Virtually waterproof, but yet two completely different systems.
Well, let me ask you about that, Rick. So the nylon one, obviously, that's for your typical fall, spring hunting situations, or even summer if you're out there bird watching. But the neoprene, why is that a good idea? What's the application for the neoprene cover?
Well, the expense of binoculars today is through the roof, and so the neoprene isn't totally needed to keep the dirt off. The lightweight ripstop nylon would do that, but what the neoprene does different is it protects it against impact. When you set them down on a rock or let's pretend they're in the backpack and you've got other stuff grinding on them and you're stacking weight on top of them, it's an excellent way to protect the value. And even in travel at the airport or something, when you wrap these in the neoprene cover, it gives you that sense of comfort. I know that when I drop my binoculars, which does happen every now and then, if they have that neoprene cover on there, I don't cringe anymore. It's like, okay, they're still okay.
So, Rick, let me ask you another question here. Lens cloth, lens cleaner, obviously people carry them for their cameras, but do they need them for the binoculars? Can't they just wipe off dust or whatever with just their T-shirt?
Well, a lot of people do, but the problem with that is the dust scratches the glass, and some people will squirt a little fluid on there or blow their breath on there to get condensation, and that's great. But I do have a better tip for them. When you've got dust on there, it's nothing but fine sand. And you may cringe, but take your tongue, wipe that off first, and all the dust comes off. And now use your lens cloth cleaner. One, it keeps it from getting super grubby, but at the same time, you're not grinding rocks in there. The other thing I'll mention, on the market, you'll find those lens cleaning pins, which is it's like a felted rubber plunger, and the dirt sticks to it, and they tell you to swirl it around and clean it off. But what you're doing is you're grinding that dirt over and over and over onto that protective lens cover or protective lens coating, and it's a terrible idea.
All right. Well, you've left me with two things here. Number one, don't get the little lens pen. And number two, I just going to have these visuals of people licking their binocular lenses now for months. So I don't know whether to thank you for that or not, but I guess I'll try it the next time I'm in the field and see what my hunting partner says when I do that.
Oh, yeah. It's the safest way. I mean, I've got older pair of Swarovskis that date back in the 90s, and the glass is absolutely perfect shape. It's kind of like washing your car. You're not going to rub the dirt off first. You're going to wet it down and wash it off with a lot of water. It's just kind of the same thing.
All right. Well, there you go, folks. If you've learned nothing else today, you know that licking your binocular lenses is a helpful exercise. We've got to go. But, folks, if you want to find out more about what Rick Young has got for your binoculars in terms of covers and lens cloth and cleaner, and especially his lightweight binocular harnesses, go to his website. It's rickyoungoutdoors.com. That's rickyoungoutdoors.com. Rick, thanks for sharing this with us on America Outdoors Radio.
Thank you, John. Appreciate it.
Here's a question for you. Have you ever tried making jerky at home? If you're lucky, you've got a dehydrator or a smoker. If not, you can use your oven. Hank Shaw, a well-known wild game chef and the author of Duck, Duck, Goose, has got a few tips that will work for either duck jerky or, I suspect, beef jerky too. First off, you need to cut those duck, goose, or beef, think London broil here, into strips that are about 1/4 inch wide. Hank likes to use a brine consisting of water, Worcester sauce, kosher salt, curing salt, sugar, cayenne, garlic powder, thyme, and porcini powder. Me? I use Yoshida's marinade for just about everything. Whichever you use, make sure you massage that meat well and work that brine into it. Then, put it all into a Ziploc bag, throw it into the fridge, and cure it. How long do you cure it? Well, 24 to 48 hours. That's right. Don't go short. Don't go too long. 24 to 48 hours, that's the key. According to Hank, the longer you cure it, the saltier it will be. Make sure you swirl that marinade around a few times, too, while it's in the fridge to ensure all the meat is getting the marinade on it. After that, you take it out. Pat the meat dry with paper towels. If you have a dehydrator, set it for 130 degrees. If you're like me and you don't, Simply lay the strips on a wire rack set over a baking sheet to catch the drippings. Then put that in the oven. Turn the oven on warm and leave the meat in there for 6 to 8 hours. You want it dried out but still pliable. Hank also recommends leaving the oven door ajar for circulation. And with that, voila, you've got jerky. Now, if you follow Hank Shaw's recipe, it's probably going to turn out pretty good. Or, if you make jerky like I do, you'll probably have something that tastes like leather soaked in Yoshida's marinade. That's why you'll often see me heading to the store, shaking my head in disgust after my jerky-making adventures, where I'll pick up some of the good stuff. My favorite is made by Tillamook Country Smoker. Yep, it's made in Tillamook County, Oregon, the same county where they make that really good cheese and even better ice cream. I've got to admit, Tillamook Country Smoker's jerky tastes really good too. Way better than my Yoshida's smoked leather. And you can find it in stores all over the country. So, whenever you are craving jerky or steak bites or flavored beef sticks for the duck blind or for fishing or to get some protein in you while you're hiking, you'll be able to find some of these tasty snacks at a store near you. So there you go. You can follow Hank Shaw's recipe out of his great book, Duck, Duck, Goose, and have some good, if not great, jerky in about 2.5 days. Or you can follow my advice and have something you won't like so much in that same time frame. Or you can run down to your nearest grocer and in about 5 minutes have some great jerky from Tillamook Country Smoker. The choice is yours, but no matter what you do, eat more jerky. It tastes great. Don't go away. We are going to be right back in just a couple minutes with another segment of America Outdoors Radio, and you're going to really enjoy this one. Number one, we've got some interesting outdoors news for you. Number two, we've got our Trail of Shame, and number three, have you ever thought about buying land in Canada? That's right. In some cases, it's quite a bit cheaper to buy recreational land, especially with the exchange rate right now in Canada than it is here in the U.S., but there's some things you need to know, and we're going to tell you what you need to know right after this short break.
Tom and Jerry's Boat Center in Mount Vernon is Washington's largest Hughes-Craft and Kingfisher aluminum boat dealer. As a leader in sales, service, and fun on the water, Tom and Jerry's only purpose is to make sure you end up with the right boat for your family's needs at a price that will make you smile. Whether it's a new Hughes-Craft or Kingfisher or a new Yamaha or Honda outboard, Tom and Jerry's can take care of all your needs. Check us out at tomandjerrys.net, and we'll see you on the water.
Hughes-Craft is the Pacific Northwest best-selling boat. It's a family fishing boat that has been providing the most safety, fishability, and the best value to Northwest boaters since 1948. Hughes-Craft's welded aluminum boats are built for serious fishermen with plenty of room for fighting fish, not the rest of the crew. Our state-of-the-art design allows for pure fishing functionality and the durability to last season after season, year after year, and decade after decade. To find the Hughes-Craft dealer nearest you, visit HughesCraft.com.
Lance Campers makes the ideal base camp for all of your outdoor adventures. We've been in business for over 50 years, and we specialize in making quality, lightweight campers for your pickups as well as trailers you can tow. If you own a half-ton truck, you'll want to check out our new 650 truck camper, made especially for half-ton short bed pickups. Find out more at an RV dealer near you, and be sure to check out the entire product line at lancecamper.com. Lance Campers, quality campers for you.
Everyone knows Kodiak Island is one of the best places in Alaska to go fishing. You can pay a lot of money to go with a guide or stay at a lodge, or you can do it yourself. There are over 100 miles of roadway on Kodiak Island leading to streams and lakes full of trout, salmon, and char. How to get there? With Budget of Kodiak. Located at the airport, we offer daily and weekly car rentals, as well as discounts for military and AARP members. Contact Budget of Kodiak and explore.
The Veterans Forward Operating Base, or VFOB, is a group of outdoor companies who have joined forces to support our nation's veterans and first responders. Only 1,000 lifetime memberships are being offered to allow you to be part of this mission, with amazing benefits including a numbered challenge coin, sticker, lapel pin, grunt-style t-shirt, $5 off a Tactical Squirrel monthly subscription box, and entry into a raffle of VFOB products valued at over $3,000. Support those who have served and sacrificed for our freedoms. Join VFOB today. Learn more at veteransfob.com.
Deep in the heart of Hell's Canyon is where you'll find 4 acres on the Snake River you could call your very own. This unique offering features a 1,480 square foot 3-bedroom home with all the amenities you would expect to find, including an indoor shower and toilet, built-in AC and heating, satellite TV, Wi-Fi, a solar system, and generator too. Want to find out more? Call 503-630-6345. 503-630-6345. Again, that's 503-630-6345 for your wilderness getaway.
You're back with America Outdoors Radio. I'm John Cruz, and it's time for some outdoors news. And this portion of the show is brought to you by California Sportsman Magazine. It's the monthly publication that covers the fishing scene, the hunting scene, and just about everything you might want to do outdoors in the great state of California. Look for a copy at a newsstand near you. Here's a question for you. It's a true or false question. Wolverines, do they live in California? I would have guessed false, but it turns out I would have guessed wrong. From the Outdoor Hub, we learned California Department of Fish and Wildlife biologist Chris Sturmer's trail camera captured a photograph of a wolverine on May 18th in the Tahoe National Forest near Truckee, California. Until 2008, it was believed that wolverines were extinct in California, but since then, the Department of Fish and Wildlife has been tracking this particular wolverine, nicknamed Buddy. He's been captured on camera a couple of times now, but unfortunately for Buddy, he's around 9 years old, which means he's reaching the end of his natural lifespan. Once this wolverine dies, it's unlikely another one will be spotted for quite some time in California, though one can hope Buddy has a few like buddies out there in the forests of this big state. In other news from the Outdoor Hub, have you ever heard of a blue lingcod before? I'm serious. I'm talking about a lingcod with turquoise blue meat. They exist, and there is photographic proof they do, no less. One of these rare fish was caught by an Alaskan angler this past month, and he showed off the turquoise blue fillets of this fish on his Facebook page. It turns out this happens on rare occasions due to a bile pigment in the fish called biliverdin, which turns the blood serum of the lingcod and the fillets into something resembling a Smurf fish. Now comes the next big question. If you caught one, would you eat it? You can. It seems that once cooked, the blue color vanishes completely and the fish are perfectly safe to eat. I dare you to eat the blue sushi, though. Next, it's time for our Trail of Shame.
It's time for the Trail of Shame.
Shame, shame on you. Shame, shame on you.
Stories of poachers, scoundrels, and other ne'er-do-wells, so if you see someone committing a criminal act on the water or in the field, turn them in. It's the right thing to do.
Did you ever wonder what the most common hunting violations are? Well, the folks at Montana Fish, Wildlife, and Parks can tell you what they are in their state, and I'll add my own editorial comments to go to each one. One of them is failing to obtain permission from landowners before hunting on private property. That's called trespassing, and it's a pretty sure way to get a ticket or maybe even land yourself in jail. Wasting part of a game animal suitable for food is another one. If you're going to shoot a critter, you are obligated to eat it. It's just that simple. Failure to properly validate a license tag or to securely fasten the tag in a visible manner to a game animal immediately after it is taken and before it's moved or transported from the kill site. Sometimes this violation is intentional, sometimes not so much. And speaking of intentional and other times not so much, here's another one. Taking game from the wrong hunting district. Another violation, using someone else's tag on a game animal you killed or tagging a game animal that someone else killed. You shot it, you tag it, no exceptions. This violation, shooting game animals on or from any public highway. Really? Who really thinks hunting happens from the highway? Get real, folks. Okay, how about this one? Taking game without a license or the proper permit. That's another no-brainer, no comment needed. Failure to validate a big game tag. Yep, you've got to do that. And not leaving evidence of the sex or species of the game animal attached. I know. You want to clean that animal in the field, but you've got to leave certain body parts on the body, whether it be birds or bucks, until you get home. There you go. As you can see, some of these are honest mistakes, while others clearly are not. But now that you know what the most common violations are, you can avoid making these mistakes yourself. After all, the last thing I ever want to do is to see you break the law and walk the trail of shame.
Shame on you.
Next on America Outdoors Radio, have you ever thought of catching that dream of buying some recreational land? You know, maybe a place in the woods where you can have a getaway, or maybe it's on a lake, maybe it's on the ocean, maybe it's on a river. I know I've had that dream, but I also know that land prices here in the United States are going up, 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 and that dream's becoming increasingly unaffordable. Well, there's an option for you. It's buying land outside of the United States. With us here to tell us more about that is Rudy Nielsen. He is the president of the Neho Land and Cattle Company out of British Columbia. Rudy, welcome to the show.
Thanks for inviting me.
So, Rudy, buying land north of the lower 48, I always thought there were some restrictions in most of the provinces about buying land and having title to it.
John, most all provinces have a restriction to foreign ownership except British Columbia. We have never put any legislation in that stops any foreigner from buying land in British Columbia, unlike, for instance, Alberta, where you have to be a resident of Alberta, and in Saskatchewan, where you have to be a Canadian citizen. So we have no restrictions whatsoever in British Columbia about foreign ownership.
So I'm guessing this is a double-edged sword, though, because my understanding is prices for homes in residential areas in Vancouver, just like they have in Portland and San Francisco and Seattle, have gone through the roof. And I understand a lot of that is because of foreign ownership.
Yes, that's correct. Our house prices, I've been in this business close to 50 years now. I've never seen house prices go up so dramatically as right now. What we've done is we've sold these houses on bidding wars. If you list a house for, say, $3 million, somebody will offer you $3.5. So it's been a really, really tough market for the local people to keep up with. So what's happening is that the lower mainland, where Vancouver is and Burnaby is and West Vancouver, which is we call the lower mainland, people have sold their houses, picked up $3-4 million. Remember that in Canada, all our houses, when we sell our residence, it's tax-free, so we pay no tax.
Oh, wow.
So people are retired. So it's happening, but you have to find another home. So what's happening, these people now have to move up farther in the valley or farther into British Columbia to keep their $2 million. They'll buy another house for $1 million, which is probably better than the house they sold for $3 million, and pocket $2 million tax-free.
Crazy. Absolutely crazy. So let's talk about U.S. investors or people who want to buy recreational land, because you sell the whole gamut. I've been on your website a number of times, and you can buy everything from 5-acre lots that are on or close to a lake to, waterfront retreats on the ocean or rivers or lakes or huge cattle ranches. You sell it all. And it looks like the further north you go, the more affordable it becomes.
Correct. As you get farther north, we have our, what we go by is the frost-free days. So winter comes a little earlier. In the middle of British Columbia, it comes really early in northern British Columbia. But if you get between the middle and Vancouver, which is, an area about 500 miles, we've got some real nice properties. And you can buy, I develop subdivisions, and I develop subdivisions up all over the British Columbia. And I can sell lots on the water for, $35,000 to $85,000.
Wow.
5-acre lots. Now, I don't put services in, but I make sure that there is water, so you drill your own well. So you can do it in stages. You can buy your lot. You don't have to put all your money out. Then what you do is then you put your well in. I do provide power to all these lots. And then, and if you go back farther and just lots overlooking the lake, not waterfront, I can sell you a lot anywhere from $35,000 up to $65,000.
Oh, wow. Well, this is intriguing indeed. And folks, another kicker to consider here is the exchange rate. It's been fluctuating, but by and large over the last couple of years has been very much in favor for those of us here in the U.S. We're running short on time, but before we go, we've got to give people your website so they can check out some of these properties and find out more about buying recreational land in British Columbia.
This Neho.com, Niho.com. That will link to a couple of my other companies, which also sells lands. But it's Neho.com is my main company, and I've been around since 1972.
Well, there you go, folks. Neho.com, Niho.com. That's the link to the Neho Land and Cattle Company. Check it out. your dream of affording recreational land, your own little fishing and hunting getaway, may be closer than you think. Rudy, thanks for telling us all about this on America Outdoors Radio.
Thanks, John, for inviting me. It was a pleasure.
That wraps up our show for this week. If you missed part of it, you can catch the entire broadcast later this week on our website at AmericaOutdoorsRadio.com. We've got a Facebook page too. Simply go to America Outdoors Radio. You'll find us there. Like our page. We're always posting pictures and information about the show, so go ahead and follow us while you're at it. And while you're on the web, you can listen to this show and our sister show, Northwestern Outdoors Radio, on the internet at a website called RenoViolaOutdoors.com. That's the home of WRVO Radio. It's an internet station dedicated to outdoors programming 7 days a week, 24 hours a day, and not only are our shows on it, but so are 30-plus other outdoor shows from all over North America. The website again, RenoViolaOutdoors.com. I hope the good Lord is blessing you today. Maybe his way of doing so is for you to get out there for a day on the water or in the woods. Remember, it's your country and your outdoors, so get out there and enjoy it.